Hi.
Devil's Digest. You said on the eve of the season opener that you still don't know how your team is going to perform under adversity. Plenty of that against Texas State, even against Mississippi State in the second half. Do you feel that you have an answer to that question right now?
Yeah, I mean, our guys didn't flinch in that game, which was awesome to see. There was never a wavering, never a flinch, just on the sideline with their body language, with anything. That's a really good sign of the direction of the program, is when you win games like that, when your guys don't flinch.
Chris and Michelle.
Chris Carlin said I was sort of building off that. What is the value of the team seeing all the things that you've talked about over the last year and a half come to fruition? What is the value of that, and what are potential pitfalls to being great?
Yeah, obviously the value is that you get buy-in with success, right? It's a lot easier to get buy-in with success than it is to continue to try to preach on the dream or what should happen if you work hard, et cetera, et cetera. The negative is expectations. People get unrealistic expectations with success. That's part of being in the entertainment industry, is, you entertain and people get excited, and excitement creates expectations. Expectations create pressure, right? And then you lose your edge or whatever that dynamic is. So I think the key is we're the same team that we were before we played a game. We're the same team we were in spring. We're the same team we were in fall. We added a few players. We've played a few games. That's really about it. But we're the same team that just needs to get better and better and better. And the best opponents we face this year are in our future. They're not in our past. And we have to get better every single week if we want to continue to have, fun Saturdays.
Do you think the players are grounded to that?
I do. I think last week was humbling. I thought we played absolutely horrible, specifically in the first half. I mean, it was really, really bad. Over 50 MAs as a football team in a football game, even though it's a short week. It's not good for us as a staff, not good for them, the players in the field. It's not good for anybody, and it starts with me. We can't go into a game and have plans that produce 50 MAs in a football game. So we probably did too much on a short week. Both of our sides of the ball are more schemed up schemes than we are just go roll the ball out and we can go. So that short week was probably harder on us than some other teams just because of how we play offense and defense. And we probably had too much in, and that's on me to monitor that moving forward, because you can't win a game with 50 MAs. Well, we did, but you shouldn't.
Michelle and Doug.
Michelle Warner, Arizona Republic. I have a question and then a follow-up. At the end of the game, when that 1 second was put back on the clock, one thing I noticed is that none of your players were whining or complaining. It seemed like they came back out and went, okay, one more play. So obviously that's a sign of kind of maturity that your guys probably wouldn't have reacted like that a year ago.
No question. What I tell the guys is let me do all the complaining. Like, let anything that you want to complain about, tell me. I'll do the complaining, you do the playing. Don't worry about the officials. Let me control the officials. Let me talk to them about things that are happening to you. Let me do that. Let me do the yelling. Let me do the complaining. Let me do all that stuff. And you guys just play the game. And I think that's just an example of that. And that wasn't the only example of the game of that. There was multiple times, D linemen always think they're getting held, even when they're not, right? They're always held. That, in the past we may have, lost our crap. That they came up to me, hey, they're holding me, or there's hands to the face, and they're telling me, all right, I'll go communicate it. And if we get a call, we get a call. If we don't, we don't. But that right there is just a sign of growth, that we're not in an argument with somebody or flailing our arms on the field, right, all game long when we think we're being held. We're getting to the sideline, we're communicating it to myself and the staff. I'm communicating it. It just shows that, is the buy-in of what we're trying to get accomplished.
And the follow-up is, was there one point in the season or before the season where you kind of said to yourself, I think this team is different?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, just the work they would put in the weight room, and like the lack of people on lists. Like, that sounds like such a little thing, but just the minimum expectation was so much higher all off season long, right? It's the minimum expectation is what I call the standard. Like, it's like, be early, be on time, be where you're supposed to be, work hard. All that stuff takes no talent, and it's very simple to get accomplished, right? The moment where I felt like, okay, we may have really good leaders, or we may have some leadership here, was when we said, hey, you guys have one more 5-yard sprint. You have to do it perfectly. And then the offense ran 40 yards, the defense ran 30 yards when they went back to their huddles and described the drill. They made them, the leaders said we wanted to run 40 and 30 instead of the 5-yard sprint that I said. I think that was a really good sign of, okay, these guys want it.
Doug and then Jake.
FranzUnplugged.com. Kenny, I can't imagine, kind of a follow-up to what Chris just mentioned about being grounded. Now is the moment you're 3-0 and learning how to handle success for the kids. I know that there's a ton of businesses that maybe weren't behind the kids NIL-wise before, and now they're coming at them with offers like crazy, and everybody wants a piece of being 3-0. It's federally mandated that kids have the right to make money, yet at the same time, how do you keep eyes on the prize? What are the safeguards you have in the program that kids are focused on what they need to be focused on, but at the same time, allowing them room to grow and make mistakes?
Yeah, I mean, I think just honesty. I think if you're just always honest with people, right, and they know you're honest with people, then they're going to listen to what you have to say. If every game I go in there and say, this is the best team we've played, all right, they're going to be like, oh, here we go again. This is the best team we've played, week 12, again, right? You have to be honest, right? There's going to, like that team last week, I thought was the best team that we'd faced up to that point, right? They were really good up front. They ran to the ball harder than we did throughout the football game, which is what showed up on tape. And it was the first team that I thought played harder than us at times. And I think it's more the honesty with your guys, and they know the truth. So you just got to tell them the truth, and hey, you're going to get opportunities, great, go take them. But what does that have to do with the fact that if you want more opportunities, we got to continue to play well? And those opportunities that you're getting have no effect on if we continue to play well. And like I said, I thought we played a bad game. I thought I coached a bad game. I thought I put our guys in bad positions to be successful, especially early in the game. We weren't ready to play. Then we had 4 penalties on one drive, which is unacceptable. We only had 2 penalties in the first 3 quarters of the game, and we have 4 on a backed up drive where we're driving the field. To have 4 penalties and then have an illegal man in the backfield on a punt when we pin them inside the 1, when statistically it's a less than 2% chance that you drive from inside the 1-yard line to score points in a tie game. That could have been one of the most catastrophic, could have been a game-losing penalty, just not lining up on the ball. And I got to get all that stuff cleaned up.
Hey, Coach. Jake Sloan, DevilsDigest. We've seen reigning team MVP Shamari Simmons make plays game in and game out. How has he embraced that leadership role, not even in the secondary, but the defense still?
Yeah, I think, Shamari's not going to talk a lot. Shamari's just going to do. Like, that's X is going to talk. It's a perfect combination, right? Those two are the dynamic. I mean, it's an absolutely perfect combination because Shamari's just going to do. He's just going to work. He's going to, whether he's banged up or not banged up, you're going to have to, pry it out of him if he's banged up. I mean, he was banged up at the end of the game. He's good now, but and he was still going out there making game-changing plays, causing a fumble after he was banged up, and then blowing a guy up on an owl screen, and having his physicality at the nickel spot. When you're a one-high defense, right, everybody wants to stress the edges. Well, he's the edge of the defense to a slot receiver. He's just as valuable being physical out there as a defensive end is relative to an offensive tackle setting an edge. He's setting the edge to the field off of the number 2 receiver most of the time. And right now, perimeter screens and stuff like that, he's not eliminating because people are still throwing it, but he's making a coordinator on tape say, man, we need to double move this guy, not we need to throw screens into this guy. And nobody really wants to go into a game saying I have to double move this guy and I can't throw my extended RPO game. You want to say this is my answer once a game. You don't want to say, oh crap, this guy just is so physical, I don't know if we can block him. And I think he's doing such a good job there and he's buying into that role. It's a huge game changer for the football team.
Julia and Paul.
All right, Kenny, Big 12 begins obviously this week. Just what's the mindset heading into this week, and then what do you expect from the crowd in Lubbock, Texas?
Yeah, mindset, this is the first Big 12 game. This will go down in literally history. There's only one game that's a first. And very few times in sports do you get to accomplish a first. Like a real first. Not like first time to have a 100-yard receiver and 2 sacks and 3 all the crazy first. Like a real first. It's the first one. And it'll be remembered forever as Arizona State's first Big 12 game. The crowd there, I'm excited for the tortillas. I've heard there's tortillas that get thrown around. I mean, I'm excited for it because it's a challenge, but it's what college football is supposed to be. We walk out underneath the band is where I was told that our entrance is. A college band on the road, it's going to be loud. Their fans are diehard fans. It's a college town. Like, it's going to be an unbelievable environment for our guys to play in. And I think that's the exciting part about joining the Big 12 is the environments that we play in. And we got to make sure that we clean up the pre-snap penalties that we had on that one drive. Like I said, the majority of the game was good, other than one drive in the football game. And we got to be able to clean those up so we don't put ourselves behind the sticks.
So just to clarify, this is your first time playing there?
This is the first time I'm playing there, yes.
Like getting call my name is Sports. Is it helpful at all having done a Texas road trip already? Like mentally, does that give you anything? What have you seen?
Maybe, yeah, maybe. I think just an away game in general is probably more helpful than having that away game back-to-back in Texas. The time change probably, so to answer your question, yeah, the time change piece of it, we just played a game on a 2-hour time change. So that type of stuff and the guys adjusting, I would say there's a little bit of comfort there that we've done it. And I'm excited because, it's an early kick. So for us, when we go back that direction for 2 hours, we're trying to stay in our own time zone. So, our kids will wake up around 7:30 Arizona time, right? And they'll be out on the field heading to the game at 10 o'clock Arizona time, which is right around when we're at practice, right? So it should be, from a body clock perspective, kind of when we're used to it, if not an hour more of rest than they're usually used to. So from a body clock perspective, I think it fits us traveling back there.
I can follow up. What stands out about Texas Tech's offense specifically?
They score a lot. I mean, that stands out. I mean, I know that's a stupid answer, but they score a lot. They're very creative. This coordinator, it's funny, I reached out to him. He was a D1 AA coordinator before he went to Western Kentucky. And when he was a D1 AA coordinator before he got hired at Western Kentucky, he had one of the top offenses in the country. And I used to reach out to all the younger dudes who were having success, and I randomly reached out to him on Twitter like, I'm going to watch your stuff just because you're scoring a lot. So I want to watch it. And then, a month later, he goes to Western Kentucky. They hire the running backs coach that was working with us at Florida State, who I then later hired at Oregon, Carlos Lachlan. So there's a little bit of connection there. And I have a lot of respect for what he does offensively, and he knows how to score. He's really creative. You never see the same thing in back-to-back games, which I think is a testament to him in terms of changing up the pictures. He constantly changes up the pictures. So whatever you show your guys, you're probably not going to see on game day. Different formation, different motion, different shift. You may see the same plays, but you're not going to see the same physical, copy-paste picture from game to game, and I think that's what makes them successful.
Like Kenny being some of the source, Jordan Tyson with a strong performance last game, but outside of just the on-field play, it seemed like every time the player went down, he was there to check in on them, and then the week before, he had the big downfield block to help Scott seal the game. What can you say about his character development and how his selflessness improved?
Yeah, I definitely think he's grown up a lot, not just physically, if you look at his before and after photo since he's been in the program, but mentally, he's really grown up, and I think that's a testament to Coach Hines Ward in terms of he has a guy who's he kind of gets to mentor him. That they're similar, they're both 6'1.5", strong dudes who are good with the ball in the hand, that were great possession guys, right? That can both be dogs in the blocking game. So I think when he sees the career Hines had, and when he challenges him to do certain things and play a certain play style, I think he can kind of feel whoa, this is coming from a similar style of player that I was. And I think that's really helped him kind of grow up a little bit, and you can see that with all the things you just described. He's one of the guys that I'm most proud of just in terms of his growth physically and mentally over the last year.
Hode, Max, Damon, Chris.
Whoa.
I know last week you said that you expected to get some players, if not back for the Texas Tech game until the Kansas game after the bye week. Any updates on that front?
No, I'm just kidding. I'll tell you. We got Prince back, so Prince will be back, which is huge for us. Hopefully we'll get Sean Na back, which we should get him back too. We should get Jordan Crook back, linebacker there. Both the D tackles that were out last week are still questionable. That's a 50-50. Hopefully we get one of the two of them back. Hopefully that's how it spins out, but we don't know yet. LT will still be out. Brooks is still questionable. We got to see how he progresses throughout the week. Ralik is still in this questionable state where he's healthy, but he's not like we got to wait for him to get full speed. And I don't know if I want to play him again if he's at 85, 90%. I don't think that's fair to him. So I think, he's questionable as well in terms of how we want to use him. If he gets to full speed, 100%, then we'll play him. If we feel like he's still in the mid-90s, then we'll hold him. So that's and then Tate Romney's still out. Arms don't heal quick. So.
Max.
Hey Kenny, Max Pitt, Arizona's family. Obviously, now switching over to Texas Tech's defense, there's been a lot of chatter about this very area defense not necessarily being up to par maybe with the rest of the Big 12, obviously giving up one down with Christian, but a much better performance last week. What have you just seen on that defense on paper, and do you feel like all of the chatter that's been around that defense about negatives maybe aren't justified?
Yeah, I don't really listen to much of the chatter, to be honest. I just watch it, just both sides of the ball. I really don't. I try not to get caught up in all that stuff just because it's a lot of fool's gold, in my opinion. There's a team that they just created 4 takeaways essentially on consecutive drives in a football game versus a North Texas team who was 2-0 at the time. They create takeaways. I think this coordinator, obviously Coach DeRuiter, has been around for a long time, been a head coach, been very successful. His ability to go in and out of the odd and 4 down front and then mix up back end looks. It's so simple. It reminds me of Cal, which he, crazy enough, he worked for Coach Wilcox and at Cal before he went to Oregon, before I got there, before he moved to Tech. So you can definitely see some similarities to Cal, right, from that thought process, which means they're going to go watch our Cal game, fully aware, because I just said that, okay. I'm great with it. And I think but I see a little bit of that, and then he's a little bit, there are some differences there, but I think the base structure, I think there's a lot of philosophy that he has that Wilcox has at Cal.
Damon and Chris.
Hey, Kenny, with Taj Brooks coming up first in a gauntlet of Big 12 running backs, how much does it change in offense when a running back can run as well as he does, as well as pass protect as well as he does?
DeCarlos?
Taj Brooks from
Oh,
Texas
my
Tech.
fault. Brooks, sorry. Wrong Brooks. Yeah, he's dynamic. I mean, you're not a 1,000-yard rusher on accident. He's absolutely dynamic. Last year, he was making plays left and right. This year, he was sat out the Washington State game. And since he's been back in, their rushing attack it drastically turns when he's in the football game. So even if you look at the stats, so the fact that he's back is huge for them. It's somebody we got to control, we got to contain.
Chris.
Kenny, Blazing Mona Wong and Caleb McCullough are 2 of the few players that were on the team that you inherited, and they both made an impact in that game, especially when you were injured in front 6. So can you just speak to what you're getting out of some of these guys and the value that they got?
Yeah, those guys that are still here, I mean, kudos to them for just battling and battling and battling. And they're both playing for us, which is pretty cool. And I think both those guys have always had really good mindsets. They've both always been about the work. And I think that's, I think the guys that are still here, they're, they just wanted to work. They just wanted to keep plugging away, keep getting better. And I think both those kids kind of do that.
Where does it say that just when you had so many of your players out, that you were able to still win a game? Especially in front 6?
Yeah, that's probably the biggest, we harped on depth. I thought we had depth to survive some situations like this. And I think the short week, being banged up specifically at one position, the D-line, and the core and your linebacker, when you have 4 of your top 8 guys out, right, going into the season, and they're out for a big game on the road, and to still find a way to win, guys like Dieter step up, and Monday step up, and Blazin step up, and Caleb step up, and be able to win a football game still, that shows you the depth. And that good experience for them, and hopefully we start getting guys back and back and back. And as we get guys back, we're going to become a better football team. And I think we get a wave of guys back this week.
Anyone else?
It's got to be. I know there's one question left that nobody's asked that has to be asked.
I'm not sure if it's the question you're looking for, Kenny, but Parker Bay with Inferno Intel. Just wondering your thoughts on Elijah Neal's development in KSU and what he brings to your defense.
Yeah, he's been unbelievable. It's a blessing in disguise when somebody goes out for a little bit of period of time. And when Prince went out, Prince was playing at a high level, and a non-contact injury knocked him out. He'll be back this week, but that gave Elijah the opportunity to get a lot of reps and grow a lot. And now that you're getting Prince back, and you have this new version of Elijah, right, that probably needed those reps in order to get to where he is right now. We kind of double dipped a little bit. We got a better version of Elijah, and we get a fresh Prince, a healthier Prince, back. So, oh, whoa, Fresh Prince reference. I didn't even mean to do that, but yeah. West Philadelphia, born and raised. But no, so it's an exciting thing. I'm really proud of how Elijah's playing right now.
And Jake, right here.
I'll just take a crack at it. Sam, how did you see his growth? Not even.
You guys just gonna ask questions, so you think my question? I thought somebody was gonna ask me. Sam's growth.
Yeah, have you seen not even just in the games, but in practices, not some.
Yeah, he's just a worker, man. It's the same. People are going to ask me questions about Sam every week. It's going to be the same. He's the same dude every single week. He's going to show up early. He's going to leave late. He's going to do everything he can to prepare for. He's going to be really, really hard and critical on himself. I mean, I don't know if you guys noticed, but last week in the middle of the practice, he missed a throw, and I started telling him he sucked. Because he's so competitive that if I tell him it's okay, right, he gets mad at himself because he knows it's not okay. So I tell him he sucks, and he's like, well, screw that guy. I can throw. And it flips the mindset for him, but it's just he's so competitive. I mean, he's an ultra competitor, and you can see that when he plays. I mean, he gets targeted and pops right back up and doesn't even blink. And we don't want him to get targeted. We want him to fall down. We don't want him to fall down, but it's still, the kid's awesome. I'm glad he's the guy that with 4 years left, I get to say my tenure here is linked very strongly to him. And I'm glad that he's the guy that it's linked to.
Michael and Doug.
Coach, you mentioned Shamari, but obviously the blow-up play against Mississippi State, the one against Texas State, blow it up, and then that interception by Expert. When Shamari's making plays like that, and you see, like you talk about his leadership, just kind of by example, what does that do for the rest of the defense?
Yeah, I think the guys respect him so much that when he makes plays or when he gives energy, when he gets excited, it just ramps everybody up. Some guys, they always get excited. They'll get excited if their pinky touches the ball carrier, right? Well, Shamari is one of those guys that when he gets excited and ramped up, it brings a real natural juice because it's real, right? It's not fake. It's not half in, half out. It's like, dang, that's like real passion, right? So I think when he makes those plays, that everybody feeds off of it. So.
Last one right here.
Question number one, what is the question you're waiting for?
I thought somebody was going to ask me about Jalen. Just because, that Jalen was, and I'll answer the question, but Jalen was awesome Sun Devil here. I mean, he had his own podcast here. He was one of the most liked people in our program. I brought him to media days as a captain here. We went to Vegas together here. We took him to a show in Vegas during media days and went to dinner. Like, I had such a good relationship with Jalen. I'm glad to see his success. He's had a really good first 3 games. He's playing the Wildcat there. He's playing wide out. He's playing tight end. He's in the backfield as the second running back. He's back really close to home where his family and his mom, who he's really close to, can watch him. He's with a coach who I respect and a coach who I know will take care of him. So couldn't be happier for him and what's happened for him in the first 3 games. Hopefully there's one bad game in there, maybe week 4. That would be the goal, right? But other than that, I wish him nothing but the best, and I just want to see him succeed.
And I can't imagine the positive of having a win in Texas on a Thursday night going into a weekend. So what all did you do Friday? Where did you go? And Saturday morning?
Friday I was in San Marcos, then went San Marcos to San Antonio, saw 5 schools in San Antonio, then left San Antonio, went to El Paso, so I watched a game in El Paso, and then left at 9:30 at night or whatever after the game, and then flew back home. And then Saturday we had a day off, so I got to hang out with the little guy.
Thanks, Coach.
Perfect, thank you.